Buddy, right now, in this very moment, your world has been dumped out onto not the highway, but a byway of life that no one ever travels or even knows where it is or cares about. Your career and income, your health and your vitality, your relationships, your long and short term finances, the whole way you see yourself and your future, the way others look at you and see you. It's all different. It's all changed. The change has been brutal, totally uninvited, and completely unexpected. And I want to talk to you about something that matters more right now than anything else. Because when you're standing in the middle of all that uncertainty, I want you to think about trust, real trust, the kind of trust that doesn't depend on your circumstances looking good, the kind of trust that holds you steady when the ground beneath your feet feels like it's crumbling away. We've all been taught to trust in things we can see and touch and control, things that have been tested and found to be true, tried and true. We trust the cash in our pocket and in our bank accounts. We trust our job that brings us security. We trust our family and friends. We trust our own capabilities. And there's really nothing wrong with any of those things, but here's what happens when those things start to shift and change. And this is what you're starting to see. When the money gets tight and dries up, when the job or jobs disappear, when the health crumbles, when your energy is gone, relationships are on the rocks, your own ability seems to fail. It's easy to panic. And we panic because we placed our trust in things that were never meant to hold the full weight of our security. We've been trusting in the creation instead of the creator. We've been trusting in the gifts instead of the giver. We've been looking at the waves instead of the one who walks on water and controls the ocean. Now, I'm not trying to say that all this change is easy. The challenges that we're facing are, just challenges. I'm not here to pretend that it doesn't hurt when these things fall apart. And I'm not trying to give you some kind of spiritual bypass where You just smile and pretend everything's fine when it's not. What I am here to tell you is that there is a power in you and around you and through you that is greater than any change or challenge you will ever face. There is a source of strength that never runs dry and a presence that never leaves you. No matter how alone you might feel, and learning to trust that presence, learning to rely on that power, learning to lean into that source is the single most important thing you can learn to do with your life. And it's probably the reason why all this shit has hit the fan, because you haven't learned it yet. Let's talk about the Creator, about Source and the quantum field. Whatever name you want to use for that infinite intelligence that creates and sustains all life. The Father, Abba. This power is not outside of you, judging you from some distant throne in the sky. This power is not waiting for you to get your act together before it helps you. This power is not punishing you with brutal trials to teach you a lesson. No, this power is right here. It's in you. And it's the very essence of who and what you are. It is the breath in your lungs right now. It is the force that beats your heart without you having to think about it. It is the intelligence that heals your wounds and is healing your body, fighting off illness. It's the power that grows your whiskers and digests your food. The same intelligence that knows how to create galaxies and spin planets and bring forth life from a single seed. This self-same intelligence is living in you and through you right now. And here's the beautiful thing. This God force, this source energy, it knows exactly what it's doing. It knows everything. It knows all. You don't. Even when everything looks like chaos and you can't see the way forward, and you've tried everything and nothing has worked, this intelligence that created you has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you, and he never will. He is not confused about what you need. He is orchestrating things behind the scenes that you cannot see. He is preparing solutions before you even knew you had a problem. He is arranging meetings and opportunities and circumstances that will blow your mind when you look back on them later. But here's where we get stuck. We want to trust God. We really do. But we want to trust God in our way. We want to tell God how things should work out. Give God a timeline. explain to God that the only acceptable solution to the problem is this or is that. We say we trust, but what we really mean is I trust God to do exactly what I think should happen and exactly the way I think it should happen and exactly the time frame I think it should happen in. And that's not trust. That's control labeled as something spiritual. Real trust means letting go. It means not having to try and control the details, surrendering our need to know how and when and where and why. It means releasing our grip on the outcome and saying, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I trust that it's going to work out. And I don't know what the solution is, but I trust there is a solution. I don't know why this is happening, but I trust there's a good reason for it, even if I don't get it. Now that's trust. That's faith. That's what it means to really rely on something greater than your own limited perspective. And I know what you're thinking. You don't understand my situation, how bad things are. Well, yes, I do, because I am you. What I'm going through. Yes, I understand. It's some pretty bad shit. How can I trust when everything is falling apart? And you know what? You're right. I don't know all the answers, but I do know this. I know that self-same power that created the sunrise this morning is the same power that lives in you. I know that the same intelligence that knows how to turn winter into spring knows how to turn your night into day. I know that the same force that brings life out of death, that brings light out of darkness, that brings order out of chaos, that force is working in your life right now, even when you can't see it. The change is not your enemy. I need you to really hear this now. The challenge is not your foe. Change, challenge. That, my friend, is life itself. Life is always moving, always growing, always evolving, always becoming. Nothing in nature stays the same. The caterpillar doesn't stay a caterpillar. The seed doesn't stay a seed. The child never stays a child. And we are nature. We're part of this great unfolding. The changes that we're experiencing right now, even the most painful ones, and the most scary ones, the ones you didn't ask for and can't lift, they're part of your evolution. They're part of your growth. They're preparing you for something you cannot yet see. Think about it. Every single time something has changed in your life, the biggest trials and challenges, when you thought it was the worst that could ever happen, when you couldn't see any way through it, you still survived. You made it through. You are here right now, which means you have a 100% success rate of getting through difficult times. 100%. Not 90%. Not 80%. And you did not do that alone. You were carried. You were guided. You were supported by the Master that never left your side. So here's what I want you to understand. Trusting God doesn't mean sitting around waiting for life to happen to you. Trusting God doesn't mean being passive and doing nothing. Trusting God means taking inspired action while releasing your attachment to the outcome. It means doing what's in front of you to do, doing it as best as you can, and then trusting that your efforts are being multiplied by a power in ways that you cannot see, much greater than yourself. And it means showing up and doing your part, and then getting out of the way and letting God do God's part. You see, there's a difference between effort and struggle. Effort is taking action with ease and flow. Struggle is taking action with resistance and force. When you trust, you can make effort without struggle. You can work hard without wearing yourself out. You can pursue your goals without being attached to them. You can desire change without demanding it. You can hope for a better world and life without being devastated if it doesn't come in the way that you're expecting. And here's something else that's really important. When you truly trust God and truly surrender to his higher power and his higher ways, you stop comparing yourself to the world. You stop looking at what others have and feeling like you're missing out. You stop wondering why others seem to have an easier go at it. You stop judging your life by a predetermined timeline because you understand that your path is your path. Your timing is your timing. Your lessons are your lessons. What's meant for you will find you. What's not meant for you will pass you by. And that's a blessing, not a curse. So many people are stressed and anxious and worried because they're trying to force things that aren't ready to happen yet. They're trying to open doors that are meant to stay closed. They're trying to make relationships work that are meant to end. They're trying to hold on to things that are meant to be released. They're trying to stay in places they've outgrown. And all of that forcing and pushing and controlling creates so much unnecessary suffering. But when you trust, when you really trust, you can just relax. You can breathe. You can be present in the now. You can enjoy your life during challenging trials because you know that you're being led somewhere better. Now let's talk about fear for a minute, because fear is the opposite of trust. Fear says it's all up to me. If I don't make this happen, it won't happen. If I don't worry about it, something bad will happen. If I don't control every detail, everything will fall apart. Fear keeps you up at night. Fear makes you sick. Fear ruins your health and your relationships, and it gives you wrinkles. Fear steals your joy, and fear is a liar. Fear is not telling you the truth about who you are or what's possible for you. When fear shows up, and it always shows up because you're just human, and that's normal. But when it does show up, I want you to do something. I want you to not fight it. Don't push it away. Don't judge yourself for feeling afraid. Instead, acknowledge it and say, okay, fear, I see you. I know you're trying to protect me. I know you're trying to keep me safe. But I don't need you right now. I'm safe. I'm guided. I'm protected by something much greater than you. And then shift your attention back to trust. Turn your attention to God. Turn your attention back to that still small voice inside of you that knows everything is going to be okay. You know what that voice sounds like, right? It's quiet. It's gentle. It's peaceful. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It doesn't panic. It simply says, be still. Be patient. Be present. We've got this. I've got you. And when you learn to listen to that voice more than you do listen to the voice of fear, your whole life changes. Not because your circumstances magically become perfect, but because you become unshakable in the midst of imperfect circumstances. Let me tell you about something called divine timing. There is a perfect time for everything. There's a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to build and a time to tear down, a time to speak and a time to be silent, a time to hold on and a time to let go. And only God knows that timing. The source. Well, he knows that timing, but we don't know that timing. We think we know. We think we've got it all figured out. We think we know exactly when something should happen. And then it doesn't happen when we think it should, and we get frustrated and angry, and we lose faith. But what if the delay is part of his plan? What if the waiting is preparing you? What if the closed door is protecting you from something you can't see? What if the detour is leading you to something better than what you originally wanted? What if the change you're fighting is actually the change that's going to save your life? Think about it. We've seen this over and over again. Somebody loses a job they thought that they'd have forever with job security. And it's the end of the world. But 6 months later, they're in a better job that they would have never applied for if they hadn't been let go. Someone goes through a painful breakup, and it's the end of the world. And a year later, they meet the person they're actually supposed to be with. Someone gets sick and it's the end of the world. Their whole life has to slow down. And in that slowness, they find their true purpose. Someone loses everything and has to rebuild. And in the rebuilding, they become the person they were always meant to be. So what we're going through right now, whatever has got us scared, keeping us up at night, the thing we're praying will just go back to the way it was. Well, what if all this is the best thing that could be happening to us? What if it's all meant to be? The challenge you're experiencing right now is not the end of your life. It's not even the middle. It's just a chapter. And every good story has chapters that challenge the main character, that test them, that change them, that prepare them for what comes next. This is that kind of chapter, a chapter of transformation. This is a chapter of true growth. This is your chapter of learning to trust what you cannot see, to believe in what's not yet visible, to have faith when faith is all you have. And when this chapter is over and you look back on this time, you will see it in a much different light. You will see how every closed door led to a better entrance. You will see how every loss made room for greater gain. You will see how every limitation was a divine arrangement. How every moment of uncertainty was building your faith. You will see how you were never alone, never forgotten, never abandoned. You will see that the Good Shepherd was with you every step of the way, carrying you when you couldn't walk, holding you when you couldn't stand, guiding you when you couldn't see. So breathe, relax, let go, trust, surrender, allow, receive. You are loved. You are supported. You are being prepared for something beautiful. You know, there comes a moment in every person's life when the universe begins to shift things around for you. Not because you've done everything perfectly, not because you've figured it all out, but because you're finally ready. You're ready to receive what's been waiting for you all along. And here's what I want you to understand right from the start. When something big is about to come into your life, when God, with his infinite intelligence and power, is preparing to hand you something magnificent, there are signs, clear, unmistakable signs that most people miss out because they're too busy looking in the wrong direction. The first sign that something extraordinary is coming your way is this. You begin to feel a strange sense of peace, even when everything around you is falling apart. This inner calm, this quiet knowing that everything is going to work out. You know that feeling. The second sign is that old patterns start to break. Things that used to trigger you no longer have the same power over you. When you notice these patterns breaking, lean into it. That's not you losing yourself. That's you finding yourself. The third sign, you'll begin to experience what feels like loss. On the surface, this feels terrible. It feels like you're moving backwards, but in reality, you're being cleared. You're being emptied so that you can be filled with something better. The fourth sign is increased intuition, increased closeness to the Almighty. The fifth sign is synchronicities that show up, coincidences or surprises, surprise appearances in your life of important people. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The sixth sign is that you'll face increasing challenges that seem designed to test you right before your breakthrough. You'll often face your biggest breakdown right before you level up. When you think it's like the end of the line, okay? You're facing obstacles that make you want to quit. This isn't the universe being cruel. This isn't God abandoning you. This is the final test. Pay attention to the synchronicities. Write them down. Acknowledge them. Thank the Father for them. Because when you give attention to these signs, when you recognize them and appreciate them, you signal to the universe that you're awake, that you're aware, that you're ready to receive more. And the more you acknowledge, the more you'll receive. It's a beautiful cycle of communication between you and the quantum field, the infinite intelligence, the God force that's always working in your favor. So keep going, brother. Keep trusting. Keep surrendering. Keep believing. Keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing your part and letting God do God's part. Keep your heart open even when it's been hurt. Keep your faith strong even when you can't see the evidence yet. Keep your hope alive even when things look hopeless, because you are never as alone as you feel, and you are never as lost as you think. You are never as far from a breakthrough as it seems. Trust God. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust life and know that no matter what's changing around you, the one thing that never changes is the infinite love and wisdom and power that is breathing you into existence in every moment. That is your foundation. That is your rock. That is your source of strength. So go forward in faith. Step into the unknown with confidence. For the unknown is the birthplace of all creation. Embrace it. Welcome it. Trust the journey and know that you are never ever walking this path alone. You are guided. You are loved. You are supported always and in all ways. This is the truth. This is the promise. This is the gift that is always available to you when you choose to trust God in the midst of the challenges and changes of life.